My dear friend, before a single thought settles in your mind, before your breathing even finds its rhythm again, something in the unseen has already begun to move toward you, and your spirit has been sensing it long before language had the ability to describe it. Because there is a divine shift unfolding around your life so quietly, so powerfully, that only your inner being has been able to detect its vibration and that subtle pressure in your chest. That unusual mixture of longing and calm, that heaviness wrapped in a strange anticipation, is the echo of heaven, preparing you for a chapter you were never meant to miss. A chapter that has been written in the eternal archives long before anyone formed an opinion about who you were supposed to be. Because while the world skimmed your surface and rushed to assumptions, heaven lingered in your depths and saw the truth. The layers, the calling, and the intention beneath every step you have taken. Even the ones you thought were detours. Even the ones that felt like failure. Even the ones that looked like silence. You've carried the weight of misinterpretation for so long that you began to question whether the vision inside you was real, whether your sensitivity was strength or weakness, whether your desire for peace was divine or delusion, whether the dreams you held so close were whispers from God or just fragments of hope created by your imagination. And those questions didn't just visit your mind. They settled beside you in rooms where you felt unseen. They followed you home after long days where you gave more than you received. They lay next to you at night as you tried to convince your heart that the delay wasn't rejection, that the quiet wasn't abandonment, that the hiddenness wasn't punishment. But even when doubt pressed against your ribs and fear circled your thoughts, there was something deeper inside you that refused to die. A small, steady flame God Himself protected. A quiet certainty that said, "This cannot be the end of my story." And that flame became your anchor through every season where nothing made sense, where loyalty wasn't returned, where your kindness was misinterpreted, where your intentions were misunderstood, where your growth was overlooked, and still you chose character over chaos, mercy over ego, boundaries over approval, and truth over temporary comfort. Every time you held back a reaction that could have justified itself, every moment you remained gentle when harshness would have been easier, every decision to forgive without applause, every unseen sacrifice you made, heaven kept record of it. And while you saw your choices as simple acts of survival or maturity, the spiritual realm saw them as evidence of readiness, because God has been working on a version of you that could not be shaped by comfort, applause, or immediate clarity, but only by surrender, endurance, self-honesty, and a level of resilience you didn't know you possessed until life required it from you. My friend, the delays you experienced weren't random, they were divine strategy. The people who walked away weren't losses, they were removals for your protection. The doors that refused to open weren't failures. They were redirections away from counterfeit paths that would have drained your spirit. The isolation you felt wasn't emptiness. It was separation for refinement, so God could strengthen the parts of you that once wavered, heal the wounds that once dictated your choices, and restore the confidence that the world tried to shrink. That mixture of grief and relief you carried in recent seasons wasn't confusion, it was transition. Heaven has been rearranging everything connected to your purpose while you thought nothing was happening. And now the spiritual atmosphere around your life is shifting with intention, because you are approaching a reveal you cannot yet see but can already feel. And the reason it feels unfamiliar is because this time, God is not asking you to strive, perform, or prove anything. He is simply asking you to stand still in who you've become, and allow the alignment that has been preparing itself for years to finally reach you. You've spent so long being misunderstood that you forgot what it feels like to be accurately perceived. But the season you're entering now is the season where God becomes your explanation, your defender, your validator, and your amplifier, not through confrontation or noise, but through undeniable outcomes, through doors no human can shut, through opportunities no rumor can block, through relationships no insecurity can sabotage, and through a peace so steady it will confuse the people who once thrived on your instability. You are stepping into a chapter where your life will speak louder than your explanations ever could, where the grace on you will be so evident that even those who underestimated you will have no choice but to acknowledge that something divine is unfolding through you. Not because you sought revenge or validation, but because truth can only stay hidden for so long before heaven demands its unveiling. What's coming will not expose your enemies, it will expose your growth. It will not highlight your pain, it will highlight your transformation. It will not elevate you for the sake of applause. It will elevate you because your assignment requires visibility, precision, courage, and stability. And God has finally completed the internal architecture needed to carry what He is releasing in your life. Every quiet choice you made has created spiritual momentum. And now that momentum is turning into manifestation. People who once questioned your motives will see your integrity. People who doubted your capacity will witness your excellence. People who misread your silence will recognize your wisdom. People who thought you were fading will be stunned by your rise, not a dramatic rise, not a noisy rise, but a purposeful rise that aligns perfectly with the grace God has placed on your name. The doors opening for you now were built specifically for the healed, disciplined, awakened version of you. The version heaven has been shaping in secret. The version that no longer needs permission to exist, no longer seeks validation to move forward, no longer carries other people's projections as truth. The version that stands firmly in identity, assignment, and divine timing. And listen carefully, God is not just elevating you. He's securing you. He's stabilizing your spirit so that honor will not inflate you. Critics will not break you. Pressure will not distort you, and success will not distract you. He's preparing you to walk in rooms designed for your anointing, not for your ego. Rooms that require strength wrapped in humility, confidence wrapped in quietness, leadership wrapped in compassion, and authority wrapped in grace. When the moment arrives, and it is closer than you think, you will not feel surprised or overwhelmed. You will feel aligned, recognized, and ready. Because everything you walked through was not just part of your story, it was part of your becoming. And one day soon, when you look around at your life, at the healed connections, the divinely aligned opportunities, the peace that finally feels natural, the clarity that no longer feels fragile, you will say, "Now I understand. Now the pieces make sense. Now the silence has meaning. Now the preparation shows itself." My friend, this is only the beginning of the life heaven has been shaping you for. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God is unfolding through you now. My dear friend, before your mind even tries to understand what is happening around you, something in the unseen is already shifting the ground beneath your next steps. And whether you've acknowledged it or not, you've been feeling the pull for days, maybe weeks. A quiet tug in your spirit, a soft awakening inside your chest. A subtle awareness that life is preparing to move in a direction you did not expect but were born for. And that feeling isn't random. It isn't imagination. It isn't wishful thinking. It is the echo of a divine alignment, drawing nearer with every breath you take, a signal from heaven whispering, "Get ready, something you've been waiting for is coming toward you." You've spent so much time carrying the weight of misunderstandings, hoping people would eventually see you accurately, longing for someone to notice the depth you carried, the sincerity in your intentions, the quiet battles you fought without telling anyone. But life kept handing you moments where your heart was too big for the room you were in, where your compassion was mistaken for weakness, where your boundaries were treated like rebellion, where your silence was judged as guilt. And each time you tried to rise above it, you wondered if maybe there was something wrong with you for feeling things so deeply, for caring so sincerely, for loving so fiercely, for having dreams that seemed too unusual to explain. But what you couldn't see then, what you're only beginning to understand now, is that God never intended for the temporary perception of others to define the permanent truth of who you are. Heaven has always known your real identity, even when you questioned it yourself. There were nights where you asked quietly, "Am I enough? Am I chosen? Did I mishear God? Did I overestimate my purpose?" And while you wrestled with those questions, God was steady, unmoving, unbothered, because He knew that your confusion wasn't a sign of failure, it was a sign of transition. The trembling right before the reveal, the stretching that happens before arrival, the discomfort that comes when you're outgrowing a version of yourself that can't go where you're headed. The solitude you experienced wasn't abandonment, it was refinement. The closed doors weren't rejection, they were redirection. The silent seasons weren't punishment, they were preparation. And all the times you felt unnoticed, heaven was watching you with absolute focus. God saw the moments you stayed kind, even when you were exhausted. He saw the times you walked away from unnecessary battles even when you could have won them. He saw you choose integrity over impulsiveness, compassion over ego, patience over proving a point. He saw you fight through emotional storms with nothing but whispered prayers and a fragile but persistent faith. And while everyone else thought you were standing still, God was building endurance, discipline, and spiritual authority inside you. You may not have realized it, but your spirit has been in training. You have been becoming someone your future requires, someone your calling cannot function without, someone whose heart is strong enough to carry blessing without breaking, whose mind is steady enough to hold wisdom without wavering, whose soul is healed enough to love without losing yourself. And now that inner work is beginning to surface, not in loud ways, not in dramatic signs, but in small sacred shifts, your voice becoming clearer, your spirit becoming calmer, your boundaries becoming firmer, your intuition becoming sharper, your purpose becoming louder. And these changes are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Something in the unseen has been set in motion. God is aligning circumstances you don't even know exist yet. He is preparing opportunities that will make you wonder how everything suddenly started fitting together. He is orchestrating connections that will recognize your worth without needing explanation. He is redirecting your steps toward a version of your destiny that once felt too distant to imagine. What's coming next in your life is not a random blessing, it is righteous timing. The same God who allowed certain people to exit your life is now sending those who will honor your heart. The same God who closed doors that frustrated you is now opening ones that were designed specifically for your growth. The same God who kept you hidden is now ready to reveal you, not to prove anything to others, but to align you with what has always been yours. You are on the edge of a chapter where your spirit will finally feel at home, where your gifts will make sense, where your past will no longer feel like a weight but like wisdom, where your resilience will become your authority. People who once misunderstood you will see you with new eyes, not because you changed for them, but because your purpose is becoming too visible for anyone to deny. You won't need to explain your journey, justify your boundaries, or defend your calling. Your life itself will speak with clarity, depth, and undeniable evidence. And the peace you're starting to feel, the quiet confidence rising inside you, that is heaven's way of saying, prepare yourself. The shift has already begun. You are stepping into a season where your prayers and your preparation are about to meet, where your waiting and your becoming will finally align, where the version of you that God has been shaping in private will walk into the spaces that were designed for your inheritance. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been overlooked. Nothing has been delayed beyond its perfect timing. What is unfolding in your life now is not compensation for your past. It is the continuation of your purpose. And as you move forward, you will begin to realize something powerful, that the very things that once made you feel misplaced are the same things that now make you irreplaceable. You are never behind. You were never forgotten. You were never unworthy. You are being prepared. And now finally, heaven is releasing what your spirit has been sensing all along.